What's up, guys? Today on Sports Central, we're going to be going over a college football game preview. This one's going to be over the 2019 Cheez-It Bowl between Washington State and Air Force. And if you remember the Cheez-It Bowl from last year, it was a wonderful disaster, that's for sure. Both teams had combined for 9 interceptions, and I don't expect that to happen in this one. We're going to be going over this preview and prediction nonetheless. Previous game for both these teams, Washington State lost to Washington 13-31. Then Air Force beat Wyoming 20-6. As for some key stats from those games, for Washington State, they had Gordon, their main quarterback, 48 for 62, 308 yards, and 2 interceptions. And Gordon has gotten a lot of attention this season, that is for sure. This team is a huge passing team. I think they've got 444 average passing yards a game. And we'll go over more about that in a second, but man, yeah, for Air Force, they're going to need to have a good secondary if they're going to beat Washington State here. As for Air Force, they've got Waters. He had 3 receptions for 100 yards and 1 touchdown as well. He's one of their main wide receivers. And then on this, it's going to be Friday, December 27th when this game is going to take place, 8 p.m. Eastern Time in Phoenix, Arizona. Spread currently says Air Force by 2. The ESPN FPI is saying Washington State 55%. And then Vegas is saying more of a blowout, 40-25 for the Air Force. And really, I mean, I think both these teams are really evenly matched, even though they're two very different teams. We'll go over more about that in a second as well. But with Washington State being in the Pac-12 in a Power 5 conference, you got to kind of consider that there as well. Here's your stat comparison for this one as well. Washington State 39.2 points per game and 31.4 points allowed per game. So obviously this Washington State team likes their high scoring games. 444 total pass yards per game, 72 rush yards per game. So once again, they are a major passing team. They are not much of a rushing team at all. Typically you'll see most college teams with at least 100 yards of rushing yards per game. But for this team, that is a big exception, only 72. As far as yards allowed go, they allow 286 pass yards and 170 rush yards a game. As far as it goes for Air Force, 34.3 points per game. They allow 19.8 points per game as well. They get 131 pass yards per game, 292 rush yards per game. So this is a major rushing team. Kind of these two are polar opposites. And then they allow 208 pass yards and 107 rush yards. So kind of looking at that, this Air Force defense obviously is excellent. They only allow like 200 yards for passing and under 115 yards for rushing. So that is really impressive there. But then again, Air Force is in a worse conference. You also got to consider that. Washington State coming into this game is 6-6. They just got bowl eligibility in the last week. And then Air Force is 10-2. Your previous 5 games for both these teams as well. Washington State lost to Washington 13-31. They also beat Oregon State in a really close one, 54-53. They beat Stanford 49-22. Lost to California, Berkeley 20-33. That's a pretty bad loss. And they also lost to Oregon, number 11th ranked at the time, 35-37. And overall, I mean, if you could have won that game against Oregon, all hell would have broke loose there. That would have been absolutely crazy. But yeah, nonetheless, Air Force, as far as it goes for them, they beat Wyoming 20-6. They beat New Mexico 44-22. Beat Colorado State 38-21. Beat Army by 4, 17-13. And then beat up Utah State 31-7. So overall, there are some good wins on there. Like that New Mexico one's pretty good, even though New Mexico isn't all that great. Utah State, that's an impressive win. I mean, Utah State's really not all that bad of a team. So yeah, overall for both these teams, I think it is a pretty balanced game, but of course Air Force really hasn't played a whole lot of upper tier teams. Some key points for this one, 2 very different teams here, no doubt about that. Washington State has experienced more though, no doubt about that either, because Washington State's played Oregon, they've played tough teams, and they know what tough teams look like. Air Force has won 7 in a row though, you do got to consider that as well. Air Force is on a win streak, and they've got a lot of momentum right now. Washington State does not have a whole lot of momentum as they've lost, I believe, 2 of their last 5. So, yeah, it's something you got to consider there as well. Washington State does have a bumpy, or they did have a bumpy November, so you got to consider that. Washington State does have an excellent pass offense. So this Air Force secondary is going to need to come to play in this game for sure if they're going to win this one. How did both teams win? Once again, Air Force got to shut down the passing offense for Washington State, and you will be just fine because Washington State doesn't have much of a rushing team at all. Unless they pull something out and pull out a big rushing game in this one, but I'm not expecting that to happen. As far as it goes for Washington State, you got to control the line of scrimmage. You got to this D-line's got to play really well, and they got to stop the rushing offense from Air Force. If you can do that, Washington State should be just fine. It's going to be a big battle of the offenses in this one. and that's why I'm expecting it to be a high scoring one. Halftime score 24-21 Air Force, and then final 41-38 Air Force as well. So yeah, of course I am expecting it to be close. I think it's going to be more of a shootout type of game in college terms. But yeah, 41-38, so going to be your final score. Air Force will get the win here, and this would be a great win for them and their program, and for their academy, I should say. But yeah, I think Air Force overall is the better team here. Washington State just does not have much momentum. They got blown out by Washington in the final week of the regular season. So I don't have a whole lot of confidence in this Washington State team right now. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below on this game. Let me know if you think Washington State can win it. Of course, it's definitely possible in my opinion, but yeah, we'll have to see. Let me know your score predictions as well. I'm curious as to those. Thank you guys all for watching, though. Once again, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. We got lots more bowl previews coming up over the next couple days. So once again, thank you guys all for watching. I will see you all later.